One of the key limitations of index numbers is that index numbers are generally based on samples. Yes, while constructing an index number for a specific study, all the items are not considered. Specific sample representative items are considered many times to construct an index number. Now, this natural sample selection creates a sampling error in the whole study. I'll explain it in a greater detail. How the index number is based on samples. Let's say I want to create an index number for a specific study. For that study, let's say if there are 15 parameters, many times we don't consider all 15 parameters. We try to take some samples out of it. And whatever is changes happening in those samples, we try to represent that index number is changed this much. But actually, as the whole elements are not considered, all the elements are not considered, hence the study or the outcome is affected due to sampling errors. So what is sampling errors? There are two broad categories in which we can identify sampling errors. One, the parameters which we used. Second, the values we collected from the society or from the data or from real life. I'll explain this in a greater detail. See, let us understand, we want to make a wholesale price index. So what we do, it's an index for goods or commodities which are sold in wholesale. So there are a lot of commodities and lot of areas in which goods are sold in wholesale. So do we consider all those items? No. Let's say from grains and pulses we take wheat, rice, specific dals. From vegetables, we consider specific vegetables like tomatoes, onion, potato. So, and the list goes on. But what we do from every areas, we do not take all the items because the item list will go very high. So what we try to take, some samples we take it and try to create the index number, try to see the changes in these values. So we'll try to say that overall wholesale price index has changed. But understand, in this, there is a sampling error involved that we have not considered all. We have taken just the sample. So if the sample is representative of all the parameters, then it's fine. But many times there are some amount of variations occur. And those variations are because all the items which makes this wholesale price index are not considered. Some specific items are taken. That's subject to sampling error, and hence index number as based on samples creates some errors. Another example of sampling is we do not try to collect data from all the peoples. We try to collect the data from specific people, right? So if we do not take a homogeneous sample for the study, then our study will be biased study. That will also lead to a bias outcome and a sampling error will be created in calculation of index number. So in nutshell summary, yes, index numbers are generally based on samples. What do you mean by that? That all the items related to that index number are not considered, but some samples are taken, which naturally introduces what? Some amount of sampling errors, and hence the index numbers are not so foolproof in that regard or perfect in that regard. So the key limitations of index number is, yes, it is based on sampling errors.